Good evening.
We continue with our walk through the Mass now on week 20, the prayer over the offerings. And this is, I think, a brief and often overlooked part of the Mass. That we begin with the invitation, "Pray, brothers and sisters, that my sacrifice and yours be acceptable to God, the Almighty Father." And since this is something that we say each time, and it is so brief, I think it's all the more likely it can become one of those things that we just kind of becomes rote and routine and we gloss over, as I say, but there's an extraordinary amount that is packed into this moment. That as we say this, it means that we are joined in the sacrifice of the Son of God, with the giving of our own life. That is, we offer the things in this life. We give up worldly blessings and goods for the good things of heaven. That in this moment is actually the secret and the mystery of the spiritual life and salvation in a way in its whole. That as our God tells us in other places to store up treasures in heaven, that we give up the treasures on earth. That we begin from that point in life where we hold on to those physical, those material things, and fulfillment and comfort and desires, that we are called to sacrifice those, to give up those things which the world tells us oftentimes are the most valuable and will fulfill us in life, to sacrifice that opens us up for the Spirit. And we offer that in union with Christ, who gave up everything in this life for that very same reason. It is through the Mass that we join in union with Him and with that giving. That we also offer the sacrifices of the martyrs, those that came before us and became the seed of the faith and the seed of the church, those who gave up jobs, who gave up their very life at times, those who were scorned, who were betrayed, who were criticized, who were ridiculed. That when we experience those things in our life for the good of the faith and for the kingdom of heaven, at the Mass we are united with those sacrifices of the martyrs. That we may even recall the words of the Beatitudes, that blessed are you when you are persecuted for my sake, for then you shall be called children of God. That it is truly in our sacrifice that we become sons and daughters of God our Father. And that we may remember also the words of St. Paul, who wrote that husbands or men, you are to give your life up for your wife, just as Christ gave his life for the church. And also, wives and women, you are to love and give your life as the church has loved and given for Christ. That this is the sacrifice that you bring to the altar, and join through this very same altar with the sacrifice of the only begotten Son. And not only do we pray that what you have given and sacrificed in love this past week, but also pray that what sacrifices you will give in the future, that they be acceptable and worthy of God himself. And so you respond, may the Lord accept the sacrifice at your hands, for the praise and glory of his name, for our good and the good of all his holy church. That these things are what makes our sacrifice worthy and acceptable. That they are made first and foremost for the glory of his name. Not out of our own comfort, not out of gaining praise. In a sense, not for our own advancement. But that the sacrifice we make for his good and the glory of his name makes it worthy. And for our good and the good of all his holy church, that a sacrifice is given for all those who have been baptized in Christ, all those who struggle in their journey in their life of faith. And one final note, that this is also the time to bring to mind your intention for your participation in the offering of this Mass. That while there is an intention that the priest is offering specifically for that particular Mass, each person individually, you should have your own intention for your own celebration and participation of bringing your own sacrifice of why you are offering that this evening or that day. And you call to mind during this prayer over the offerings that this is the reason for your sacrifice. That it may be for a loved one, it may be for forgiveness of others, it may be for those in purgatory, it may be for someone who has died, it may be for someone who is sick and ill and struggling. But that you come to Mass with that intention in mind, to offer it in the beginning, before Mass begins, to call to mind during the prayer over the offerings, and then also as you receive or right after receiving communion, to call that intention to mind.